Hey guys, Coach Matt over here at Primal. So here's what we're doing today. Got a great question on when you should be training in the weight room and when you should be working in the circle during the season and during the off season. So real quick, I wanted to just answer sort of ideally how I would like it. Ideally how I would plan things out if I was running a team and had a really nice, easy meet schedule. So I got to look at college. Now, most colleges, you're going to have your track meets on Saturdays. And what that does is that gives you Monday through Friday to practice. Saturday is your meet, and Sunday, hopefully or typically, is going to be a travel day or your day off. So if I had one track meet on Saturdays, which is how colleges do it, high schools during the championship season, and also during the summertime if you do any AAU or USATF meets, it's usually going to be on a Saturday. So if that's the case, Monday for me is going to be a day to do throwing technique in the circle and your special strength, your throwing specific movements with things like, medicine balls or javelin throwing balls or, overweight, underweight implements, anything like that. That's what we're going to do on Monday. Tuesday, we're going to throw for half the practice, and the other half of practice is going to be in the weight room. Okay, depending on where you are in the season, what your training program comes from, that's when you're doing your weight training. Wednesday is going to be very similar to Monday, where the majority of practice is going to be throwing technique, and then your special strength, your throwing specific strength movements are going to be sort of the last quarter of practice. So if it's a 2-hour practice, you're looking at an hour and a half of practice on throwing technique, and the last half an hour working with med balls and whatever else you're doing. Thursday, similar to Tuesday. So Thursday, you're going to do the first half of practice is going to be throwing and throwing technique. The second half of practice is going to be weight room. And then Friday, you do, before the meet, you do maybe, an hour of practice where you're warming up, you're taking some easy throws, you're taking a couple of hard throws, and you're just getting prepared for the meet. Now, does that always happen perfectly? Absolutely not. You're rarely going to have, unless you're in college, you're rarely going to have where you can do Monday throwing, Tuesday throwing in weight room, Wednesday throwing, Thursday throwing in weight room, Friday is a pre-meet easy day. Doesn't happen. A lot of times you have got more than one meet throughout the week, especially in high school at the beginning of the season. So what do? Well, as tough as it is to say, what you do is that these beginner meets at the season, you treat them just like another day of practice. So if you have a meet on Tuesday and you're supposed to lift on Wednesday, you lift on Monday, you lift on Monday. Got some ambulances going by outside. We're right next to a firehouse, so apologize for that. If your meet is on Wednesday and you're supposed to lift on Tuesday, you're lifting on Tuesday. If it's, most of the time, if you have a meet during the week, it's going to be a little dual meet or something along those lines where you don't necessarily need to put a lot of effort into it. It usually doesn't even qualify you for the bigger meets at the end of the year. At the beginning of the year, just treat it like another day of practice. I try not to lift after a meet. I try not to have any practice after a meet. Usually a meet day, that's sort of your easy day where you're only taking about, with warm-ups and everything else, even if you do 2 events, and if you make finals, if they even have finals, you're really only taking about maybe 35 throws between 2 events, including warm-ups and everything else. So it's an easy day. It's more of a rest day at the beginning of the year so that afterwards you maybe hit it hard in the weight room. But you just got to try to kind of finagle it and try to get it so that you're in the weight room twice a week and you're doing a lot of throws training and a lot of throwing technique and throwing specific exercises with med balls and other things throughout the week. But that's how I would set it up in a perfect world. You are just going to have to play with it. You have to physically take a calendar, okay? And this is what I do. I take a calendar. I take the months from the season and I tape the calendar up on the wall. And what I'll do is I'll plot out all of my meets so I have a full view of my season. And then I plot in where I want to weight train around those meets, and everything else is a throwing day. So that's what you should do too. If you're concerned about something like that, whether you should lift before a meet, you just have to plot it out on a calendar. As long as you're getting in the weight room twice a week during the season, you should be all set. Now during the summertime, if you don't have any meets going on, I want you in the weight room at least 3 times a week, and I want you throwing at least 3 to 4 times a week. So that means on some days, yes, you will have to throw the same days that you lift. The lifting might be a little bit harder, the throwing might be a little bit longer, but you know what? It's summertime, you don't have any meets, you've got more opportunity to rest. So go at it. Go hard all summer, throw a lot during the summer. Make sure you're spending time in the circle with the disc, the shot, the hammer, on the runway with the javelin, whatever your specific event. Hope this helped you out. Hope this makes you a little bit more knowledgeable as far as when you should be setting up your weight training and your throwing during the season and during the off season. Any other questions? Make sure you give me a shout or go to primalatc.com, sign up for our newsletter, and then we can start sending emails back and forth. Hope to hear from you soon.